Okay, so now we'll call roll. Vandenbrink.
Here.
Schatzinger.
Here.
Gadsky.
Here.
Krieger.
Here.
Iverson.
Here.
Page.
Here.
Sorensen. Here. I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Move to approve the agenda.
Thank you, Jonathan. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Gary. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. There's no one here for public comment.
Aye.
You do?
Yes.
What?
On behalf of myself, I would like to thank Steve Davis for all he did for the fire district. And I also would like to thank Kim Davis for
Okay.
all she did for the fire district.
Okay. Thank you, Gary. Okay, let's move on to the secretary's report. You have the minutes of the last meeting.
I have a change. Underneath the chief's report, in number letter D, it's the second round of fire inspections were done. It's the first round that were done, not the second. It's, letter
Oh,
D.
yeah, you're right. It was the first, sorry.
Nope, it's fine.
Don't know what that's the point.
Does anyone have anything else?
Under new business, there's D with nothing.
Oh, that's just a,
Sure.
there's nothing there. That's just an artifact. Sorry. Saw that after I did. Because you're tabbing through it and it's putting it in there and then you're moving on to something else you didn't see it.
And an attorney under that, then the next line, that's Attorney Moniz, right?
Yeah, Tom Louise.
The eyes gotta come out.
Yeah, it's M-O-N-E-Z, I think.
Oh,
It's M-O-N-I-Z, isn't it? I-Z?
Yes.
What is
okay.
it?
M-O-N-I-Z.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry
sorry.
for correcting stuff. In new business,
Yeah.
You spelled?
see me.
Oh, yeah, your name too, yeah.
Well, while you're doing that, you spell my name
Oh.
all the time too.
Okay, well, the spellings, I'm sorry about that. I see I did do that there, Jonathan. All the other places, I got it correct. You wouldn't want to change your name to Gratsky, would you? Just, you know. Okay.
Okay, is there a motion to approve the secretary's report for September with the changes as recommended?
I so move.
Thank you, Tom.
A second.
Thank you, Jonathan. Any further discussion? Okay. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Okay, treasurer's report. We don't really have a treasurer's report. We're still migrating everything over. And CLA needs to have some things balanced. When I did the payroll, I think Civics rounded differently than Intuit does. So you're off a few cents, so those had to have been taken care of. So we don't have a treasurer's report for you this month. We're going to attempt to do our first bill pay tomorrow. And if not, we'll get the urgent checks out if I have to handwrite them. So there's no action on this item. I'm hoping that next month we will have a report for you. Okay, chief's report.
Department staffing, we've had one of our guy that was on leave, he went and did forestry firefighting. He is back from that, and he just started back on Monday. So he's
Mike.
back, Mike Schmidt, he is back, correct?
We have like 35 employees now.
We
We
have,
had some people apply, but we're still waiting.
I think I entered 35.
yeah, well, because we had to enter some of them so they could get their W-2s at the end of the year.
Mhm.
So we have 32 plus an apprentice right now.
So you're moving up.
Yep, we're moving up on that.
Can I ask a question on that?
Sure.
With staffing, how many are actually able to go on call during the day? How is our daytime shift looking?
Daytime is getting better. Now that they have their school schedules and stuff, it's easier to schedule them and they have more availability because they're not trying to work jobs plus. So yeah, so it's, this month I think I have 2 days that I only have like 1 or 2 people on. The other ones, there's like a couple Fridays where we don't have anybody staffed, and then I just send out a text message saying, telling the crews that, you know, this is how we're running. I'm here usually every day, so if I have a driver, I can hop in the front of the engine and we can get out. That's, you know, it's kind of going back to the old school way of doing, of how we used to.
But you still have your on-call guys that are in the city.
Right, we still have our POs, our paid on-call people in the city that can come down if, you know, if they're available. And most of them, once they get the text message, they kind of arrange their plans so that they're around and able to help.
So Chief, you're feeling good about that? Because don't we typically try to do 3 to 4
We're
during the day?
budgeted for 3.
Yep, we're budgeted for
For
3.
3 for the day, and which is sufficient. We can get a rig out the door.
But now we're at 1 to 2.
We
That's
can,
what I heard.
Well, for a day or two we do,
Yeah,
yeah.
for 2 days this month.
But you still have 6 to 8 paid on-call guys that are coming,
yeah.
so,
So you don't feel it's a concern?
no, not at all. And we'll get into that with the call volume here later. Actually, I'll bring it up now, we're 34 calls less today than we were this time last year.
That's good news.
So calls are going down, so we're not being utilized as like we used to.
Good news for the safety, I guess.
Yeah, there's no jeopardy of the safety of the city. We have our mutual aid departments that sometimes almost join us at the scene at the same time, so we're in good shape.
Thanks for that.
Morale is still status quo on that. I'd say it's probably even going up a little bit. We all seem to be getting along. Things are getting done. So that's about all I have on the morale part of it. I'll get into a couple of things that we did do the past month here. We did Septemberfest. We were up there for the duration of Septemberfest, which we weren't sure what we were going to have, but it turned out to be a busy event for us. I think I did 55 rides that day. We were nonstop from 10:30 to 2:30. We were nonstop. We had lots of compliments on that. People got in and they thought they were just there to look at the rig, and then when I started up and took off, they're like, "I'm going for a ride?" And yep. And we had somebody from California here, and they were very impressed with our little city. She's very happy.
Well, they should be.
Yep. Homecoming, we just had that here last week Friday. We had a great showing of that. Personnel-wise, we had all the rigs that we normally take up there, plus one, I think, maybe. Lots of compliments on that as well. Moving into our open house. Our open house is this coming Tuesday from 4 to 7. We'll get some stuff out to the kids on that at school as well. We're going to put some signs up in the city as well. We got some events planned.
On the 10th.
The 10th from 4 to 7, so do we have to do a,
Heather and I'll do a bad key notice so that just in case a group of us board members show up, we're covered. We won't take any business on anything.
and we have trick or treating, which was talked about earlier. We'll do the standby for trick or treating and hand out candy as well. B, certification updates. That's still status quo. There's really not been any. We got one for sure in school now. So when he completes that, he'll be certified. We get a certification for that. Calls for the month. We have that sheet right here. You can see everything is kind of listed on the back here. I'll take a minute to look at that.
This is is this for September, so we're 3/4 of the year through and we have 245, that's down a lot, actually.
36 calls from last year at the same time.
Yeah, roughly 36 calls.
Do you think anything has to do with the weather? Is it, how, are things pretty dry right now? Is it doesn't seem as dry, or is it?
We just had a bunch of rain. We had an inch and a half
Yeah.
of rain a couple weeks ago, but I think a lot of people are educated.
Be more cautious.
Yeah, be more cautious, don't burn when it's windy, when it's dry. Obviously, our neighboring departments or cities, they have fire, bans when you can't burn. So maybe they're hearing that, because I get some feedback on that too. Well, we're under ban, aren't we? City of Ripon technically isn't, or Fond du Lac County, but Green Lake right next to us is. So some of that might be bleeding off. So yeah, it's great. I'm just glad we're dialing that up, so. Fire inspection update. We are, I would say 95% done with the second round.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow.
Tyler and the guys have been really on it. They've been hammering them out. So
Yes,
I got a question. How are the tablets working out?
they were working out. They were working.
The tablets are working great. ESO is having an issue right now with their version on the tablet. So Tyler's been doing most of them with his cell phone, and it's been working great. So I've been in contact with ESO pretty much every day, going, what's the status? They're working on it. They have put an all hands on deck kind of a thing in place at ESO, going, every IT person that can help fix this is working on it to get it fixed. So they were hoping to get it fixed by the end of yesterday, and they said it didn't happen. They were going to hope to get it done by the end of today, so I will find out tomorrow morning if they got it fixed.
Is it the Apple platform? What kind of phone does Tyler have?
Tyler has an Apple phone also,
Okay.
but we're thinking it has to do with the versions. And so that's what they're testing out to make sure before they tell us to do the update, that it's gonna accept the new update we have to put on the iPad, or the version the iPad already has on it is an updated one. So they're looking to see if that's what the problem is that we have the newer version and it's not
And it
compatible
didn't
with that.
update from an older version?
Right, that's kind of what they're, so.
Okay.
Update on strategic plan. We've been meeting, we met with Robert Whitaker on all this stuff. We put our input in on that. We also have a survey out right now for the general public. I think it's like 7 questions,
Yeah.
7 or 8 questions. that you
Yeah,
can go
has
and-
anybody done it?
Can go and voice your opinions.
It's out on the, city has it out on their website, and then we have it on our website, and then we have it out on Facebook that you can follow the link to it. We will have, at the open house, we'll have a computer set up if anybody wants to do it there, because they don't have a computer at home. We'll have a station set up that they can do the survey here, or they can do written ones. And then fill them out and then stick them, we'll have a locked box. They'll stay locked until Robert comes and gets them.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I guess I didn't do it as a board member because I thought I'm coming here to voice my opinion. I'm lucky that I get to do that, but if you're saying that you'd like all of us to try to do
I think there's a thing on there that you can pick, if you're a current firefighter or a fire member, a city, a taxpayer that lives in the city, you can click which one you are, and then it'll filter it through. So yeah, I think according to Robert, he wants anybody and everybody who wants to do it to fill it out.
If Henry do it too.
Yeah, sure. Sounds good.
Oh, yeah.
Anything else? That's up. Does anybody have any questions for?
What I was gonna say, for the parade, I was glad that, sometimes they get on those sirens and about drives you crazy, I can't hear anyway, but I think they did a nice job last time, they booped it a little bit, but,
Yep.
you don't blast the kids out of the baby strollers.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to old business. Let's take care of the budget. You should all have a copy. the roll-up sheet is this sheet, and Heather and I did do some significant work on the expenditures for operations budget. So you can see the roll-up for each section of the budget, like for personnel services and contractual services. So you have that subtotal.
Do you have a color one for me?
Did
You
anything
have
change
to
in
hand me
this
that
from
one.
the
I'll
one
use
that's
my
emailed
note.
out? Is
No.
this-
I printed
It's
off
the
one at
same.
home.
I'm thinking roll up. First time I heard it.
A budget?
No, roll up, yeah.
But this is just, it rolls all this stuff
This- yeah.
into the right categories
This
over
is
here.
the subtotal.
Right,
Then this all rolls up into the expenditures here.
okay, sure.
So we have asked, the city of Ripon did agree to what we had asked them to, and I don't know if I'm making assumptions, Tom, Barry, that you all will, you know, do what we've asked.
That's
So-
an assumption.
Yeah. So that it's up 2% at $438,213. That would be the levy. Then state fire dues this year came in at over 29,000. So we budgeted 30, it's close to 30,000 for state fire dues, and we do have to pass a follow-up inspection, but we did put the 30,000 in there. Fire inspection fees, you can see the year-to-date actual is close to 57,000. We rounded it up to 60,000 because they're finding buildings that had not been inspected before. So there'll be more tax bills that have that inspection fee on it for, and that's just in the city. They're not, it's not in the towns, it's in the city. Fire prevention services is kept flat at 3,000. Interest income, as you can see, interest income is pretty significant this year. It's over 200 really right now, because we don't have the current year to date, but it's doing very well. Miscellaneous revenue, we kept at 0. Donations, 5,000, because we're not sure when the bequest will be coming in. I had to drive up to Appleton yesterday to get a medallion signature because I couldn't get one in Ripon. So Fiduciary Securities did it for us at no charge. And then while I was there, I dropped it off at Van Riesen and Associates for Tom Mooney's to have. So they have to liquidate. So that's why you have the 5,000. Grants, 10,000. We've been looking at writing some grants. Do we have our EIN number yet from the feds?
I haven't gotten any.
Okay, very good. Well, Doug's been working on that.
I'll try again when I have some time.
Okay. And then fire call fees was rather robustly budgeted for last year, and brought that down to 16,000 because the last, the 6 month was at 8,000. Fund balance applied, as you can see, has decreased. It was 70,000 in 2022, and it's budgeted for 51,425 for this year, and the request is $38,099 for 2024. So it's going down. I don't like to use fund balance. But that's where we're at. So if you want to look at some of the detail, or if you have any questions, Heather and I will be happy to answer them.
So the donation, we don't know if it's gonna come in for this next year, and so, but we count it.
Well, we don't know if we're gonna get it this year or if we're gonna get it
Yeah,
next year.
but we do get donations. We get lots of donations. We're being like right now, we have well over this 28,000, that was a grant, that's a firehouse grant that I think was written by the person Barry had thanked for their service. Is it
That is correct.
Kim
Kim
Davis?
Davis.
She wrote that grant. But we have other donations and grants that have come in too, that are not listed, so,
Right, would they be typical to not sort of count on it?
right.
But we are counting on it here.
Well, but
Well, we
also
know
have
we're
the-
getting
we
the
have-
5,000.
We have
Oh, I
the
didn't hear
Ruby,
you
we
say
have,
that.
we have the Ruby,
You know you're getting it. is what you're
Yeah,
saying.
that's what I
Right.
was doing yesterday up
okay.
in the valley.
Okay.
we just don't know,
We
if
just-
it- we just
yeah.
don't know if it's gonna come in by the time they liquidate everything. We're thinking we're not gonna get it till next year.
And even if we get it this year, we'll still, we get donations on a regular basis. There's somebody anonymous who gives us a donation every year, so. I just don't want to be too eager and over budgeting.
Yeah, that's my concern with putting it in.
Yeah, that's
You don't have it till you
conservative.
have it.
Right, right.
Well, and if you don't like the 5,000, then you can increase the fund balance.
Do that one, Paul.
If you want to reduce the 5,000, which I would not recommend, you can then, you'd have to increase your fund balance applied, because the budget has to balance, unless you want to cut something out of the expenditures.
Well, how do you know that the donation has no strings attached? I mean, where did you even count it? You know, are we sure that it's not restricted, a donation?
We don't know,
Right, so how can you count it towards a budget? When it
because
could
it's
say-
revenue.
Right, but it could be restricted to the parking lot, I don't know, a brick somewhere.
But then we would put that underneath the building stuff.
It just seems strange in my mind.
I don't know, sometimes, to me, putting donations in a budget is a dumb thing. But the thing is, we know we're gonna get it, and if you know you're gonna get it, then you almost gotta put it in there.
And
because
it's
you know
not
it.
restricted, so you can decide what you want to do with it.
This is the
You're
one. we-
sure it's not
this is-
restricted?
This is the
I
one we
know it's
already.
not restricted, I've been living with the paperwork for a month.
This is the one that we got like
Yeah.
a couple
Yeah.
months ago.
Yeah.
Okay,
So, but just, we don't have the money.
And I don't know when we're gonna get it, because she passed away in January, so it's been taking a while.
so I just want to say, like in the past, we've said that, you know, we get a donation, we didn't necessarily want that just going in the operating budget.
Right.
But what you're saying is now it is,
No,
kind of. You just said otherwise, in order to have a balanced budget, you counted on that.
I'm counting on it because we can apply it, if it's applied toward, it could be applied toward turnout gear, it could be applied toward a truck, it could be applied toward any of multiple things that are in the budget.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's just
Like, we've got
designated,
donations
yeah.
for that tool I always want to call the Omni tool.
So when we get the money, we're gonna get it, it's just a question of when. We'll make a decision after we get it, what we're going to apply it for.
Right.
So, for instance, in here, there's turnout gear, what was it, $12,000?
$18,000, so you can buy
We could
3
then
sets.
swap that out, we could say, we're gonna apply that to the turnout gear, take 5,000 out of that and put it someplace else.
Or if we don't need it, if we're under expenditures, we can say, let's apply it to radios for next year.
That'd be one out of like 60 that we need. Yeah, so, it's part of the revenue, so I think we should count it as revenue, and then we'll make a decision. If it came in and said, I only want it to be used for new radios, and that would be a different thing, we wouldn't be counting it as general revenue. Okay?
Right.
But here it is, here's $5,000, do whatever you want with it, I'm just not restricting it. Okay?
The other thing is, we have fire prevention education. If Webster's gives us a $3,000 grant, that offsets the expenditure for fire prevention. Does that help help understand?
But again, we're not counting that.
Because we haven't applied for it yet.
Right. Yeah.
But we know we're getting Ruby's money because we're dealing with the paperwork.
Can't put Webster's there because we don't have Webster's.
Right.
So when we get that grant, when we get the donation from Ruby Estate, we'll come back the month after and we'll decide what we're going to do with that money.
I think the difference is with Webster's, for example, is that because we're not counting on it to balance the budget, that's funding something, that maybe otherwise couldn't have been funded. And now what we're saying is we're just counting it to balance our budget, this money.
Well, do you want to, should we,
I think one of the problems in the past is we haven't had a good accounting of donations that have come in. I had requested and requested and requested an itemized account of restricted funds. I never got it. I got it after you requested it at a meeting. So this is actually being more transparent and saying we expect a donation of $5,000. When that money comes in, because it's not restricted, the board is going to have to decide how they want to apply that money. And I can guarantee you that donations will far exceed this $5,000 amount. I just don't know by how much.
Yeah. But, if we want to do it a different way, we could just say donations aren't going to be included in the budget. I mean, the board could do that too.
You can do anything you want. But then you're going to have to figure out how do you balance your budget.
I guess all of this state, but in this case, you're saying you're going to get it. It makes me uncomfortable going to balance a budget based on money that may or may not come in. That seems like we're just trying to feel good about it. But what you are saying is that
we know we're getting the
we know
money.
we're getting it. So I guess that makes me feel more comfortable. But in general, I would not want to look like, oh, we feel good about balancing a budget on something that we don't know we're going to get.
Right.
That seems not smart.
well, the law firm has money and they're just getting ready to cut the checks.
Yeah.
So it's in their trust account and I bet we'll get it before the end of the year.
We don't know, we don't know.
Took me a couple weeks to find a medallion. Well, actually, Tom Moniz found the medallion signature person.
Because at the end of the day, shouldn't we be fiscally responsible to balance a budget without counting on donations? I mean, isn't that the bottom line of our job too?
I would disagree with you on that, but that's okay. We can disagree.
Yeah.
I've been doing budgets a long time.
I'd just say that there's always a potential of anything. I mean, not to say this in camera, but I mean, like, if we fail the audit again,
Yeah.
we lose the 30,000 in the top
Yep.
line. If there were no fire calls all year,
Yep.
right, we'd also lose the fire
Yeah.
call. Right? So, I mean,
Yeah, it's a planning document.
Yeah.
It's
Got
not,
it.
it's,
Got it.
but I do want to make this point, that once you approve the budget, that is how we are supposed to spend our money. They've worked a great deal on the expenditure part of it. And it's been a very difficult budget to put forward because we don't know exactly what's been spent on what.
Thanks
So
for your work.
it's a planning document. And once you approve it, we'll wait, and Jonathan's exactly right. If we fail the state audit, we aren't gonna get any fire dues. We're not.
we're not going to fail it.
We're not gonna fail it. But the revenues can be a little bit more flexible. Expenditures, what I expect to see in a budget is that, and you're gonna see how we report differently going forward, is that we're not gonna be moving money. Unless the board says, you need to take this money out of this account and place it here. But that's a board decision, and it goes in the minutes, so the public is aware of what's going on.
Makes sense.
Does that help?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Sometimes you have to do that.
Yep. Like, say we,
Blow up a truck,
yep,
drive over and we got,
yep,
you know,
Things
eight
happen.
black tires.
$10,000 worth of work.
Yeah.
yeah. So it's a planning document,
Then we have to turn the heat and electricity off until we can.
Well, Heather's
take it out of
been
that.
doing that already. So does anyone have questions about the detail?
Oh, yeah, I do have a question here. A couple of years ago, we were sharing some mapping software with the PD, and we stopped doing that. Is that something that we want to start up again? Is the police still doing it?
I don't think they use that mapping software anymore. I think they use the county's mapping software now.
Okay, well, it was software, it was mapping for inside the building, wasn't it?
We checked with Chief Wallner, and they're not doing that.
Did you guys stop doing that a few years ago? There was some mapping
I don't remember
software.
Not for like an inside of the building, no.
Okay, because that's what I thought that was for. So like you were in the Lions Laundry, and it's smoke filled where you kind of know where you're going.
We do our pre-planned
You do have
incidents.
pre-plans, yeah, but
That's not.
Okay.
that's
Well-
not through a mapping software.
That solves that
I
problem.
think we checked with Chief Wallner on that one too.
Yeah, because I was like, I wasn't sure what it was for, and he's like, no, we don't use that.
So should we go, I mean, I have just a couple of questions. For retirement, down 79% from last
Yeah.
year's budget because,
It's based on her salary. That's Wisconsin retirement.
The WRS.
That's the WRS payment I calculated for her for the full year next year.
and then
And-
travel.
And last year, Jolene, those numbers were inflated. Remember,
Okay.
the budget came in and I said, this isn't the budget I agreed to? Those numbers were inflated.
So that's an example of an area that it was inflated?
Yes.
Is that why we're seeing that?
Yes.
Mhm.
And then travel, we have budgeted 0. What about for trainings or?
Travel, we moved, hang on, if you're where we moved it to. We moved that to,
It was in there twice.
yeah, it was in there twice, so I consolidated. So if you look at
Training
training and related travel, it's all in there. I just consolidated it because we didn't use any money so far out of the travel budget line item this year. And so I just use it under, because all the travel is supposed to be for like the lodging, to go to the chief's conferences, the neighbors conferences and stuff like that. So I just put it all underneath one,
Under training.
underneath training,
Makes
because
sense.
it's, you know.
It does look a little different than last year, Jolene. We worked on this for a long time.
Utility services is up quite a bit.
It was under budgeted by 50% in last year's.
Yikes. And it's only gonna go up this year.
So was Spectrum. The utilities were under budgeted.
I guess my only question, and I don't know if it's a dumb question, maybe I already know the answer to it, it's just the radios. I didn't see the radios in there, unless I
No.
just missed it.
No, we're not putting the radios in yet.
Okay.
But we'll have to start purchasing them next year, and next year we'll have, at the end of, no, 2025, we have the truck. So when we have we'll have a 5-year capital improvement plan coming to you for your approval, which is like a planning document. We'll start listing the radios at that time. Because we have until what year till they go to 800 megahertz?
Well, they're going to 800 megahertz right now.
Okay.
They're giving us like 5 years for everybody in the county
Yeah.
to get up to.
So
Okay.
we'll talk about that, next budget. We'll put it in the CIP. And so you can see, like, I would say maybe over 3 years, because it's gonna be a minimum of $100,000
Okay.
Minimum to do what?
for the radios.
Oh, yeah, it's over 237,000 just for our portables.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of money.
You're looking probably by the time we outfit everything, it'd be 500,000.
That's no doubt.
So question about the radios, does it make sense, do we get a discount if we buy in bulk versus, I mean, there's a question that has been both with the police department we heard and now here. the two
I've
different
asked for
companies.
trade-in value on
Yeah.
our newer ones
Yeah.
and not really, we'll take them, but
But my question is, because there is a question about the companies, and we've heard mixed things about Kenwood versus Motorola, would it be smart to buy a handful of the one brand, let's say the Kenwood is cheaper, to see how they work before we know we need to buy all of them, so we know if they're actually working? Wouldn't that be a smart?
Answer. Bill Wallner, or Chief Wallner had said that, told us last night after the meeting that they got some Kenwoods and they used them for like a week and a half or 2 weeks or something, and no problems at all.
I mean, I was there, I heard that too.
Yeah.
My point was from our department,
Yeah.
should we buy a couple?
I have not met with Motorola representative yet. We didn't meet with Kenwood. He went over all of his positives and he gave me a loaner. I have a loaner radio right now that I'm using. And we've had Kenwoods in the past. We all have Kenwood here, some of us.
Fire
The majority of them.
departments tend to use,
The majority of them are Motorola though. All of them out in the rigs are Motorola.
are they,
Yeah.
well, but typically fire departments like Kenwood.
People have their preferences,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, when you look at what the numbers are gonna come in at, and the Kenwood will do just exactly what the Motorola is gonna do, and I'm sure Bill Wallner and Mitch from the ambulance department, if you want to talk to them, they'll tell you the same thing. They're back to back. There's really no difference,
But I
other
guess
than a
it
name and
seems-
a dollar amount.
Listen, it's not gonna be cheaper. Would it make sense to buy one of each right now before we actually, next year at this time, when we have to make that big decision?
We
And then
could.
we have a whole year of
We
trying
could.
out both.
We could see if Motorola will let us
I'm sure Motorola will give us a demo.
demo.
Yeah, I
How
don't
long
know.
did you get the demo for?
I think I had mine for 3 weeks.
3 weeks?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure I could have it longer if I just asked them. They're pretty decent people. The trunking systems are all on there for the different frequencies and, yeah.
So if we get called to Winnebago County, we can just switch over to a different trunking system and then we can
Winnebago's
communicate
all
with Winnebago, so it just is over to their band.
Are they at 800 megahertz also?
Yeah, I think they have been
I
already.
think so, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
They've been
yeah,
there for a long time.
Yeah, they've been there for
Okay.
long, yeah.
Long
Is
time.
Green Lake?
No.
No,
They're still,
they're in the dark ages, yeah.
But we can still trunk with them
we can
and
still, yeah, we
Okay.
can
talk to
still
them
talk
as
with them
well.
and talk with
Okay.
them. Because it's a dual band radio, so they have both bands in there.
Oh, okay.
So, so yeah, that's what everybody said, you need to go with the dual bands, because then you can talk.
Part of the reason too, we'll do the CIP probably in November. There'll be 2 CIPs, one for equipment and another one for the building. We'll put it in there. You'll have to shepherd that one through because I won't be here. But it's like a chess game where you can move things, but it'll give you an idea of future expenses. And frankly, we didn't do radios in this budget because we really don't know where we're at. I recommend running a year with the budget so we get a better detailing of when we go over in a budget line or if we're not expending a budget line. We can't tell really where we need to put money in the budget.
Yeah, I'm with you. And knowing that it's a 5-year runway, I think I'm fine. I don't know if Chief said that at our city council meeting, but I walked away thinking like the transition was next year.
No, it's
So,
not.
I might have just not been listening.
I might have thought 2025, but 5 years is a little bit more reasonable. That also gives us time to look for any kind of grants that might be available, federal grants, which is why we need our EIN document.
I'll have to check again with them.
Okay, because if we can write to get, like, sometimes it's a matching grant, and if we commit to buying a certain number of grants, they might match, or radios, they might match it. So I've been starting to look at that online. Any other questions about expenditures? It's a little bit different budget than you've seen in the past.
It looks a bit more realistic.
Well, fingers crossed. And next year, we won't have McMahon and Associates, so our professional services budget should go down quite a bit.
I don't know much about hydrant flag maintenance. I noticed that last year there was nothing budgeted. This year, is that something where that's going to come up?
DPW takes care of that. We don't do that anymore.
No.
DPW takes care of that. So, and we can take it
So there's not
out.
even a reason to really
Yeah,
have it
no,
here,
we can
but-
take it out. Yeah.
Okay. Or we can put DPW.
Where do you find that under, what section?
I don't even know the page number on these. What isn't the page number? But it's right here.
I have a question. Ellen, do we have any kind of contingency fund of any?
We have a money market account that has about $300,000.
That's not what we're gonna use then, okay.
Well, oh, yeah, we do have a contingency.
Here, it says
It's
10,000.
10,000. I reduced it from
Oh, I see.
16,000 last
Yeah.
year.
We have no idea how much we used last year.
Well, not in 2022, in 2023, we know.
Yeah, we don't. Okay.
Remember, we don't have our audits either. We don't have our audit back either.
Right,
Okay, so our last meeting, we toured the upstairs, and that conversation of spending for upstairs.
There's nothing in there for upstairs.
I see that, so,
that's something we're gonna have a conversation about.
so our plan is for this entire next year not to spend anything on it unless it comes from, I guess,
Well,
fundraising.
there is donations for the upstairs.
There is some donations that are restricted, but we're still investigating the plans because it doesn't appear that the plans for the upstairs were ever approved by the state.
Mhm.
The HVAC was, but there is no HVAC up there, right?
No, the people got the plan of state approved, but we never went and did the work. The work was never done for that.
For the HVAC, and then the state never, we don't believe the state ever approved the
We can't
plans.
find, we can't find it.
Yeah, and she's been working with the architect who did those, so that's that's gonna be a longer conversation. We can use the upstairs during the day.
But
Come winter,
come winter, you're gonna
well,
have people staying up there, so we're gonna have to bring that up to code to get those exit lights installed.
the only time we need to use it is if there's,
Snowstorm or something.
right.
Right.
If we have to remove the beds down here, that is what it is.
Or turn a lantern up there.
So, I mean, if we have to put the beds for
Or
one
if you have
day,
gear, you do standby,
yeah,
sit
I
there,
could just stay there
stay
and
all night, yeah.
stay all night
Yep.
and ring the bell.
go like this.
So no, there's nothing for the upstairs in there. The board needs to decide what it wants up there. And I'm not sure how much an HVAC system costs, and I don't know. We're just trying, we have a lot of things to try and figure out where we are.
So this is where theoretically that contingency could come out of, but my guess is contingency often comes out of repairs that are unexpected.
Yeah, and if you remember last year's budget, there was
Mhm.
nothing in there for the upstairs.
No, there wasn't.
And was that a good thing? I mean, look at the conversation we're at now, is we have needs.
Well,
Well,
I don't think we've ever had anything in the budget for upstairs.
No, there wasn't, and I've never seen any kind of resolution or anything from the board saying, go work upstairs to do all that work. So I don't know where the money came from.
Well, it's all donated.
It was, but I never saw the board say, okay, we approve these plans. I never saw those at any meeting, anything that I looked at, never saw those. So maybe they were and I missed it, it's quite possible, but I did look through a lot of stuff and I didn't see anything.
There was nothing budgeted last year, but there were expenses for the upstairs. We just don't know where it was paid out of.
And we don't expect any expenses this year.
No.
No, I mean,
We haven't
anything that we,
authorized anything.
We don't plan on doing anything up there, no. We
No,
got enough
not
stuff on our
this year.
plate without worrying about the upstairs.
Okay.
Any more questions? These are good questions.
Do we have to look at, I mean, I know we have, but, you know, it's always been sort of the people that we paid on call, where do we feel confident with the money we've put towards that?
Mhm.
Clearly, I guess, you looked at it.
And then we extrapolate out for the end of the year.
Paid on premise, I meant, right?
And it's still budget. Part of the reason it's less this year is because last year, 2022 was budgeted for 3 firefighters, and we're budgeted for 3 firefighters this year. But last year, many times, there were 4 and 5 that were not needed.
When do pay increases happen for the people that are paid on premise? It would be now, if we, as a board, let's say the market demanded, you know, I don't know, let's say surrounding departments went up by 50 cents.
We are, with all of the comps in our area, we are right on target. We had a study done by Kevin Clone on that, and Robert Whitaker. Because we didn't know if we would be coming in for a recommendation for an increase. But this does not include a recommendation for an increase because the comps are steady.
Right on target.
I'll move to approve the budget.
Thank you, Jonathan. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Are there any further questions about the budget? Barry, do you have any questions? Okay. Tom, this is your first budget with us? Your first budget with us?
No, no questions.
Okay. And Gary, you're good? Okay. All
If I'm
those,
good, I'd have to do it, like,
But thanks for everyone who put it, my guess is it sounds like you put in a lot of extra work this year, a lot of different people. And so thank you.
Yeah, I wanted to say thanks for doing it. A lot of work.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, I'll take a roll call vote because it's money. Vandenbrink,
Yes.
Schatzinger.
Yes.
Gatsky.
Yes.
Krieger.
Yes.
Iverson.
Yes.
Page.
Yes.
Sorensen. Yes.
Oh, you're
Passes.
giving me the money?
I'm not
Oh, that
giving
wasn't part of, oh, you said
No.
because it's money.
Okay, I haven't gotten back to the collection firm because Heather and I have been working on the budget and working with the IT people, which is under new business, so. And we reported a little bit on the accounting transition. Heather, do you want to go into a little bit more detail based on your conversation with Kelly this morning?
So Kelly's from CLA, and she's kind of the person that's helping me with the QuickBooks and understanding what the new QuickBooks does compared to the QuickBooks I'm used to. So I asked her a bunch of questions, and so she kind of went into our account and was trying to help me. And according to her, we have 4 checking accounts.
We have one
We have
checking.
one checking
We have
account.
one checking account
At
and
the
one
bank.
money market account at the bank. Just want to be
Yeah.
clear.
So then.
What was the 4 you just said?
So the
Yeah.
4, so in our chart of accounts, we have 4 different checking accounts in there for some reason. So she asked me why, and I said, I don't know. So I'm looking at that answer. I'm looking into that to figure that out. So and then in money market, we have the one money market account, but then in our chart of accounts, we have 3 different accounts that money can be in.
Like sub-accounts.
Sub-accounts.
In the money market?
So,
Under
yeah.
the money back.
yeah, so, Kelly asked me, you know, again, what that was for, and so, I'm going to, I have a, email into Mandy at the city to ask her if she can go into our account and see why it's in there and how it was used, so we can keep using it the same way, or we can make adjustments if we need to. I ran a payroll well,
It took 4 weeks to get that payroll system in,
Yep.
because we were missing information.
Yes.
It took 2 weeks to get all the fire folks to fill out the new information, and so we could, because sometimes you have a name change, or an address change, or, you know, your dependents change, so that's all
Banking
up to date.
changes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
banking changes.
So what you're saying though, if someone didn't get paid, that's why, and then it. and then-
Everybody's gotten paid, because the
Everybody's-
city.
But I mean, if there was a delay, you're saying that there was, some people experienced a delay.
Not in
I thought- I
payroll,
thought that was
it.
not in payroll, no.
Not payroll, payroll's
No,
fine.
we,
The bills haven't.
we
been
didn't run
paid.
it out
That's what I'm
of,
saying,
we
yeah.
didn't run it out
That's
of
not payroll.
QuickBooks.
I see.
We didn't run payroll out of QuickBooks because we couldn't get the information, we couldn't get it in the system.
Yeah.
So the city ran it out of Civics for us,
On hard checks that
On
were
hard
done.
checks.
Yeah.
so that we could pay the employees. So with my talk with Kelly today, she explained to me how to run the bills, and so bills will all be paid tomorrow. So I'll be cutting checks for all the bills tomorrow, so those will all go out.
But so people thought there was a delay in a payment, this is why. Is that what we're
Yes.
hearing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
want to be clear.
Yeah.
It's the transition between one system to another. And we didn't know that there were several sub-accounts in, I mean, for payroll, I was able to link the payroll directly to the checking account. And that should work. But for the accounts payable, they had asked us to, CLA had asked us to wait a little bit because things were a little bit off kilter. But we think now that because there's 3 sub-accounts, that's why things were a little bit off.
So, yeah, so tomorrow I'll be running accounts payable checks and getting everybody paid. Fingers crossed.
Okay, and we're running a hard paper checks, so I'll have to come in and sign.
Right, for the accounts payable,
Yeah,
yes.
come in tomorrow after
I'll
work.
come in tomorrow between 3:30, well, 3:45. Please say anything here.
I don't know if I'll be here,
I have a fob.
but she can, yeah, she
All
can,
right.
I'll put them in.
All right, I'll call you as I get into town.
Okay. Okay, does that help explain things? And we apologize to people for not being able to run those invoices, but we think we're there. Done with.
Find out tomorrow.
Find out, yeah, we'll find out tomorrow.
Okay. So, are there any more questions about the accounting transition? All the personnel files are in-house now. All the files are in-house, and we'll be consolidating all the personnel files probably next week. So moving on to new business. Jolene, this is going to help answer a question that you had last night. Heather and I met with Loyalty a couple weeks ago because we asked them to come in and do an assessment of our computer system.
You keep that one.
So, and then when they gave us the assessment of the computer system, they also gave us a quote for,
Do you want me to hand out the quote?
yeah, you can hand out the quote. Right now, we're paying $5,000 for Google Mail a year. So this price tag, you can see I crossed off, it's based on the server and the workstations. We don't have any servers. And we have 9 computers. So the price goes down from $1,200 a month to like $900 something a month, $990, or $9, it's less. So if you go through the assessment results, you'll find that the hardware, it's not applicable. We do need new hardware, but I did not request it in this budget because I would like to write a grant for that. And the workstations, I don't know that we have any workstations per se. Our operating system is satisfactory. Our UTM internet security appliance is at risk. We only have a router and it lacks monitoring to set up date security features. We're at risk for switches. The switches are over 5 years old and not cloud managed or monitored. This will have performance implications and increases potential for failure and increased downtime. Wi-Fi is at risk because it's ad hoc and lacks visibility and management. Our power management is at risk. Existing UPS is at EOL. I know Jonathan understands everything I'm saying, or does not have enough capacity to support the environment. We're at risk for continuity of operations for backup and disaster recovery. We are not currently running backups. We have no system backups. Microsoft and Google both recommend a third-party backup of their cloud services. No such backup has been implemented. Business continuity plan, we are at risk because we rely on vendors to know what to do when a disaster strikes and guide them through the reactionary steps. Endpoint security software is at risk. Antivirus is installed manually with some machines unprotected or out of date. Our hosted email needs attention. And that's the Google app. They're recommending Office 365. I believe that's what we use at the city.
It is.
And then
Why, what, did they say why they recommend it?
it's more secure.
They don't really state.
I'm sorry, Ellen, once again, how much are we paying for the Google Mail?
$5,000 a year. It's
Okay.
$1,200 a quarter, but he said he wanted a 20% increase.
But how much is 365 for a year? Do we know that?
It's all bundled into this price.
How, we can't really compare apples to apples, but it's less than this anyways, is what you're saying.
Well, we pay $5,000 for email right now.
Yeah. So how do we know what we pay for email, is my point, with Microsoft 365?
They didn't do they do it by equipment. So it's $110 per equipment for everything that we're going through. It's a package.
That doesn't make sense, doesn't it?
Well,
Doesn't it go by email?
We're not gonna, no, because that's actually the wrong way to do it. We have no security on our system. We
Right.
just have Google Mail.
That's it. Doesn't mean that the computers can't be hacked.
No, I agree with that.
Yeah.
But my point is, we still need email for our people that are using the email.
They're
right?
saying Outlook, yeah,
It'll go through the Office 365.
yeah.
But we don't have a cost for that.
It's in
The
here.
cost is in the front sheet.
I thought you said this was per workstation.
That's for everything that they're recommending in here would be this cost per
No, I
workstation.
get that, but don't people access email? Like, I think of workstation, maybe I'm not understanding the terms here. I think of workstation, I think of a physical computer workstation.
This includes all the email, like, I don't know how many people we have. We have 36 people entered for 32 people
That's
for
my
payroll.
concern. I don't see that listed as included, but you're saying
It
you
is
feel assured
included.
it is.
It is included, yeah.
I don't see
Yeah.
that written, but.
So if we,
It's not itemized, but it's in.
Yeah, it's all itemized, but not by price. This is the general price here.
right, so I think what you're saying is, it's sort of based on computer, but you can have multiple users access their
Sure.
email on a.
Well, they do.
Yeah, right now,
Right.
we access them,
So-
I can access
so-
mine in 3 different spots.
Right,
That's
so,
confused.
so this price is based on how many computers? Nine?
Nine, it would be less than the 1,200.
Okay, so the nine computers, but 5 guys can log in and log out of of their Outlook.
Yeah,
And-
Outlook is more secure than Google.
Right, so they can log into it, and we don't need 20 computers, each with a different Outlook on it. You go in,
I would imagine you need that. I just wanted
Right.
to see that the emails, the 30-some that we have, we know
So-
is included, and I don't see that listed.
so they're gonna give us all the emails accounts that we need
That's
for
my
each
concern.
guy.
Yeah,
But
Yeah.
we don't see it listed.
Right, it's just, it's included in all the other stuff that they're putting in here.
You're sure?
That's what they stated.
Without putting it in writing, they stated that.
Okay,
It's probably not itemized on that quote you have right there, but it is probably covered in that, yes.
Can you hand me the business card?
I mean, I'm just making sure that we're not surprised. I've used both systems,
We've
and I
used
think,
them before.
I think Office 365 is more secure. So I'm not questioning whether or not that's good, to be clear.
okay, I understand, I understand. Okay, all right, now I lost my place.
Okay.
Okay. Email protection is at risk because there is no email anti-spam or virus filter in use. The email client provides filtering. Our email archiving is at risk because we have sensitive data and our reporting requirements. This would be to the state, like ESO, and email archiving is not in place. LOB application support is at risk. Redundant internet is acceptable. Infrastructure capacity and scalability is at risk. The VPN, we don't want a VPN. That's not applicable. Asset inventory needs attention. AI network documentation is at risk. Its network documentation is lacking, which makes the environment difficult to support. Controlled access is at risk. The company has no policy in place to limit access rights for users to the bare minimum permissions they need to perform their work. Directory services is at risk. There's no central source of authentication in use. This creates unnecessary risk exposure caused by lack of accountability and an inability to deploy adequate security policies. Dark web monitoring, we have no dark web monitoring. IT support, IT is all reactive. It's like if we need something, we call the guy. What's his name? John. Patch management policy is at risk. Technology budgeting is at risk because we don't do it. IP scheme is at risk. Virtual networks are at risk. Technical alignment manager is at risk. Voice CIO consulting services is at risk because we don't have engagement for voice CIO services. And loyalty stack alignment, Jonathan probably understands this stuff.
No, I don't understand.
You don't understand that one? Okay. Switch makes and models, we don't have Cisco or HP, so I understand that one.
Yeah.
And then firewalls are at risk, I knew that. Access point makes and models, I didn't know about that one, we're at risk. Endpoint protector vendor, we're not utilizing endpoint protection. We're at risk because we don't have a backup disaster recovery vendor. That would be cloud access for the vendor. SaaS backup vendor, we're at risk. Password manager vendor, we're at risk. MFA vendor, we're at risk. We're not utilizing a solution. Spam filtering, we're at risk. SIEM network security vendor at risk. End user security training at risk. And productivity suite, we're not using M365, so we are at risk. So my recommendation is that we seriously think about hiring this firm because they work with the city and they're the ones who wanted the VPN cut between Princeton and Ripon because that was a security risk for the city. So, discussion.
I have a few questions. The first being the 9 like workstations that you're gonna get?
No, we have 9 workstations, we're not getting them.
No, but so if you look at their audit, we have 7 desktops and we have 4 laptops.
They
So
counted
audited-
wrong.
No, all right.
That, you see the 9 here?
No, there's 11, yeah, there's 9.
It's 9.
Okay,
We have some things that don't work.
so that's the 2 laptops that they counted that aren't used? I'm just wondering, so you're just replacing what you have with?
We're not replacing anything. We're just upgrading the security on what we have.
Okay,
Then I want to write a grant. And then what happens is they'll work with us to build a system that we can use. Because it would be nice, we have tough books that PD gave us. It would be nice to have tough books in the trucks. And so we would build a system that has newer computers and newer software and put the tough books in the trucks. And it's not in the the payment for this is in the budget. The payment for new computers and servers and stuff like that, it is not in the budget because they'll write a grant for it. Because we can't afford a lot of.
Yeah, we got right into that.
Yes, Joe.
I know the city just sort of vetted this company and they had good things to say about it, so I feel like it's a trusted company. I like that it's more local, you know, Wisconsin, so I feel good about that. I do feel a little bit funny, I will say, about their reporting of at-risk in that a lot of the areas, they'll say, for example, you know, the client is not using, and they'll give a certain brand name of something, and then the next comment is, please document in public comments. I feel like if we were to do an actual assessment of our current state, we would have what is our current vendor, what is our current practice in these different areas so that we could compare.
This does reflect our current process.
No,
This
but
is what we're doing.
It doesn't say it. It just says, please document. Well, then we should go down. If you're saying it does reflect it.
This reflects everything that is not being done. Bill Wallner wanted us to move to a professional IT to protect our equipment and our information,
No, I
which we're not
agree.
doing.
But what I'm saying then is if it can't really represent what our current system is because it literally says, please document. I mean, then we should write down for these areas, do not currently have. And then that
What
would
page
show
are you on?
all of them. Let's see, so I'm looking at 11 and it says, please document current backup, starting at the top. Please document current SAS backup. You know, it's saying we don't have this, we're not using their certain brand name.
We're not doing any of this.
We don't
children.
have
Yeah.
any backup.
We don't have
I
any
know,
backup.
I get that, but so then in order for this report to be accurate, we should state that. Instead of saying, please document, then we should say, don't have, don't have, don't have, don't have. And that's what I wanted to hear, so I'm hearing that now.
Yeah, Bill Wallner was very, very animate that we have this done and that we secure our technology.
So let me understand this, Ellen. It sounds like all these deficiencies can be corrected by this company.
Yeah,
For that money.
for this money.
Yeah, okay.
It's not a one-time payment, though. We're gonna be paying this every month.
No, well, this is the first month would be the 2,000, it'd be less than that because we have fewer workstations, because it'd be the onboarding setup in which they begin to switch over to Outlook and start adding those securities that we need. Then the ongoing payment on a monthly basis after the setup,
It's right here, right? Recurring amount, 1,210.
Yeah,
But it's less
not,
than
that's
that.
because they're doing it by 11, we only have 9.
yeah. It's $9.90 per month, I believe, instead of $12.10.
And where is this budgeted in our budget? Are we just?
It
asked?
is under,
Underneath the professionals.
yeah, on the first page, under contractual services, IT support, $10,000.
so I mean, the question
because Las Vegas has been hacked, medical systems have been hacked.
Well, do we need a motion to approve this?
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve the IT contract with Loyalty.
I'll second.
And the amount is how much, $9.90 a month?
Well, the first month is gonna be.
How much a year are we talking then?
Well, it's budgeted at 10,000 for next year.
That included, oh no.
This would be for this year. And IT was not budgeted in the past,
No.
so we put IT in this year.
So for our discussion right now, I would say, I do wish, instead of kind of saying it might be around this or that, I do wish we had that number, and I also wish that, again, that this was, I wish we had the answer of, does it include all emails, this type of thing. But at the end of the day, if we are vulnerable every day we wait to not have security. So ultimately, I feel I will vote for this, but I do wish that we had just a little more.
So
information.
it'll be, the first month will be $1,815.
Which will be November,
Well, if they can get going in November.
won't be December, we'll get the bill.
Yeah, and then it's $980 a month. Does that help, Jolene?
And it's monthly contractual, so I suppose I don't think there'll be another company that would come in, but.
Well, and I don't even know if all these computers are workable, so. All right, are there any other discussions about this?
I don't understand any of it, so I guess it doesn't bother me after hearing this either.
All this stuff takes so much time. It's just,
Yeah.
Heather and I just sit in the office sometimes and just laugh and laugh and laugh.
It sounds
Rob, go on your corner and
if
cry.
we resolve all these problems, that we're getting, it's a very cost-efficient way of making it right.
It is, and the gentleman who, the president is a female, and so one of us will call her tomorrow, but the guy who we is it Carl the president? Carl is former law enforcement and military.
Carrie's the president.
Okay, she's the president, but Carl is the person that the city deals with, and he's the person I reached out to first, and because he's former law enforcement, he feels very protective of law enforcement and fire and first responders, so. All right, if there are no other questions, all those, do you wanna vote together, or do you want, okay, all those in,
Was there a second to that motion?
yeah, Jonathan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Okay. Thank you. One of us will contact them tomorrow and see what we can get going. Exit interview, did you have any more exit interviews for
So I
us?
have one more, I can't even pull it up to say it, but the only difference in that one, we gave up in 2019, and his comment was he would not come back unless he felt there was a strong change because he felt that there was too much favoritism. So, maybe that aligns with what other people have said, too much favoritism and too much flying off the handle and hot-headedness. So that was the only.
Well, I believe you've been working on that with trainers and not being told to yell at people.
So that was the only other comment. Otherwise, no, I had 2 extremely sick children all month.
Oh, I'm
Or not all
sorry.
month, but like for 2 weeks of the month with probably COVID and antibiotics, and my mom had medical stuff, so it was an off month for me. So.
soft month for me too. Carissa fell down, sprained both her ankles, so the ambulance had to come out and drag people around, yeah.
But what you just said is, you're saying that there was, what, you just verified what he was saying? Is that what you're just saying?
There was that, and I know that they're working on, that is a thing, it's a thing. And this command group is working on that not being an acceptable behavior for training. Right, Cody? Yeah. And we appreciate that.
I can't throw the axe at them and tell you what you're thinking. Makes it hard.
Well, the next item is truck 17 batteries.
Actually, I found, as we were doing the budget, I found that it is in the budget line item. There's a
Oh.
budget line item for it, but I'll just talk on it briefly. We had a really bad smell in the fire station for a couple days, and we kept thinking it was the sewer drain, so we're pouring water down the sewer drains, trying to get them cleaned out.
Sulfur smell.
And so, after we did a little bit more research, and we used the ladder truck for the 9/11 memorial down at City Hall, and the truck wouldn't start to bring it back, we realized it's the batteries that was making the smell in the station. And so, truck 17 takes 6 batteries. And so we needed the truck, so.
We had to buy batteries.
So
Bought the batteries.
what kind of batteries? They're not regular car batteries, are they?
They're a Group 31 truck battery,
Okay,
6 of them.
and they're what, $1,000 a piece?
No.
500?
They're 2 something.
There were two, all 6 of them came to like $1,035, and then we got the
Generator
core back.
battery.
Yeah.
And they'll get the core back for the old ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And
Did you
we were-
guys put them in yourself, or did you have to have
yeah,
some?
they put him in.
Cooper and I put them in.
Okay,
And we brought it forward because we thought we didn't have a budget line for it, but you're saying we did.
Yeah, I found one when I copied and pasted this over into an Excel spreadsheet. It popped out all the wording, and I gotta try and find it, but underneath
It's like,
operating supplies and small equipment, it says batteries for trucks, portable radios, pagers, cameras, flashlights, SCBA units, and smoke alarms. And miscellaneous others needed was $3,000, so it was in the.
And you haven't spent it yet?
We haven't, no, so we should be good.
Yeah, I don't think we have to approve it if there was a budget line, because that budget was approved last year, and they didn't exceed it. Yeah. Is that the only expenditure out of that line this year?
The other one would be smoke alarms. We bought any smoke alarms out of that.
Yeah, I haven't bought any.
No.
We run boxes of them.
So I guess we don't have to take any action on it, because it was in the budget. So thank you.
What's the charger, what's doing it, John?
I'm not really sure. We do have a timer system that used to be in the station here that we would only charge certain things for 6 hours at a time, and then they'd be off for 6 hours. That has been bypassed, I've been told. I'm not sure why it was bypassed, but somebody has told me these newer trucks and engines have onboard trickle chargers. So once they're plugged in, they'll, that they won't overcharge the system.
Well, that's what I was wondering if you were,
But the
you know, if you were
batteries in-
smelling it,
The batteries in
charging all the
in
time.
17 were, yes, like they were
They're
overcharged.
cooked.
Yes. And they were actually exploding. The batteries were exploding. They were that bad. So it's something we gotta look into yet. We haven't ruled out getting that timer fixed
You
yet.
have to keep an eye on it,
Yeah.
make sure it's, otherwise it'll just do the same thing. to the
Right.
one.
Yes.
When we replaced, they were 5 years old, and when we went back and looked on the battery, they had marked. And we put them in 5 years ago, so, so I'm like, on the CIP, we should probably put new batteries in 5 years.
Right, that should go in the book
Right,
for the maintenance record for
Yep.
17.
Should write it on the battery.
We do.
yep, we do.
We do.
I think when I looked at something like that, it mattered the level that you bought. So as long as you got decent quality, it was built in. But if you got the cheapest quality, it wasn't built in. So just make sure that, I'm assuming you're not buying the cheapest.
Batteries
ones.
are anybody's guess when you put them in. You can have a battery that can go for 8 years,
But
and
if
you
you
have
have
one that goes
that
3.
turbocharged component.
Yes. And that should be in the new engine too as well.
Okay, agenda items for future meetings. We'll bring in a sheet to work on setting the 2024 meetings, Jolene. And then you should have the capital improvement things for next month, which we can go over if you have questions. And then I talked with Jim Macy the other day, and he believes it's time for us to do a report card to the community. So I've been working on updating. Heather and I have been keeping an ongoing list of the issues that have been addressed by the department and by the board, and so he would like to do a report card to the community November or December. So he might come in and have a meeting with us. Bill Wellner has also asked to meet with us at some point in the future.
We'll do that in closed session?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure if the Jim Macy one will be in closed session either, but I'm working on, Heather hasn't had a chance to look at it yet. Heather and I share a lot of Google Docs.
Are we thinking December then?
I don't know for sure.
Okay.
Jonathan will run the next meeting because I can't drive, I won't be able to drive till the end of the year. So
You're gonna zoom in?
I can zoom in. I can't run a meeting from Zoom. It's really difficult. And then I might be able, if I can move around on crutch, I have a walker. This is gonna be so much fun. I have a walker I can use. So if I can be mobile for December, I'll come in for December.
Do you guys have anything that uses a 34C battery?
I'm not sure, to be honest.
I had 300 extra on work, trying to find somewhere to take them. So, if anything comes up.
300 extra?
How big are they?
So what do they normally go in?
They're 800 CCA batteries. You'd go in 80 kW generators.
Oh.
Is that a fire?
What kind of posts they have on them?
I'll show you after the meeting. Standard.
I'll
Stand 2 plus
entertain a
there.
motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Doug.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Jolene. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Thank you all very much.